Welcome to Conversations from St. Norbert College, a program that invites you into discussions taking place in your community on today's local and global issues. Now, your host for Conversations from St. Norbert College, the Dean and Academic Vice President of the college, Michael Marsden.
Good evening. My name is Michael Marsden, and I'm your host for this edition of Conversations from St. Norbert College. Our topic this evening is community service. Our special guest is Kate Hogan, President of the Cerebral Palsy Board in Green Bay and Director of Retail Operations for the Green Bay Packers. Kate graduated from St. Norbert College in 1985 and has since made her mark not only in the world of retail sales, but also in community service in the area. She has received numerous awards over the years, including the 2007 State Superintendents Business Friends of Education Award, which recognizes the efforts of a business to help students connect academic and technical learning for real-world business and industry practices through quality work-based learning. She also received the St. Norbert College Distinguished Achievement Award in Business in 2006. Kate, welcome to our program. We're really delighted to have you with us.
Good evening, Mike. I'm pleased to be here. Thank you.
Your career really had a series of steps to get you to where you now head up the retail operations for the Packers. But talk a little bit about that, would you, and how you got from your graduation in St. Norbert College to your current position, and what steps along the way you took to make that happen.
Well, it's interesting because I never expected to be where I am now. And, I think when you go to college, you think, I've got this path worked out and I'm going to follow it and travel down it. But it was just a series of opportunities along the way that have landed me here at the Green Bay Packers.
But life has its twists and turns.
It does, and some of them have been really challenging, but they kind of form you and get your focus straight, and you pick and choose along the way and hope you make good decisions. So, I've really enjoyed my time at H.C. Prange. Was very interesting, working in the stores and in the buying offices, and a lot of that experience.
You were a buyer for them, correct?
I was. A lot of my experience in the stores, working with the folks in the different cities and the different stores, really helped me understand how to work with people, how to engage with them. As a young person, you're going in and you're responsible for all these areas in the store. And those people that are working in the stores have been there 5, 10, 20 years, and they're really the experienced masters of what's going on. So I really took that opportunity to learn from them and guide them, and not go in and tell them what to do or how to do it, because they are really the masters. Mm-hmm. So that was a great experience for me. But at Prange, there's a lot of teamwork, a lot of hard work, a lot of long hours, so that just kind of set the table for next steps. And then I tried a little bit of corporate taxes at Schneider National, which was really, really interesting, but I found it wasn't quite as exciting. It was a little dry for me. I really like the kind of get-up-and-go atmosphere in retail, so I went back to Prange and spent some more time there, and then just landed at the Packers just by chance.
At the right time.
At the right time. Really at the right time.
When they were expanding their whole retail operation.
Expanding retail, winning, bringing in Mike Holmgren, getting Brett Favre, so it's been a really fun ride. And we've continued to grow, and there continues to be lots of opportunity over at the Packers.
I read somewhere, tell me if this is correct, that the Green Bay Packers are second only to the New York Yankees in terms of the worldwide sales of the logo items.
Well, it kind of shifts from year to year, but we're typically in the top 5 in the NFL, and I think in overall brand we would be in the top 5 as well. So between us and the Cowboys, we kind of trade back and forth.
That's very good. Now, how did you get involved in volunteering to work for the Cerebral Palsy Incorporated operation?
Well, when my husband Mark and I had our first child, we were looking for daycare, and a friend of ours actually takes care of assistant technology over at the center. And she mentioned...
That's at the CP Center.
At the CP Center, yes. And she mentioned a small integrated child care center over there. So we actually had to wait 7 months to get Bailey enrolled, because it was real small, 4 infants, 4 toddlers, 4 preschool age kids. But we started attending that center, and we started to really see all the things that happen there in the integrated child care, and then also just in the building and in the program. There was a lot of interaction between the kids and the adult program services. And over time, we really saw how Bailey and then our son Mitchell became engaged with the services and the people within the program and the center. And it was interesting and it was really neat. And every day when we took the kids in, we talked about this a lot, how we were struck by the great work that the people do there and the services that they offer. And it just really touched us. So that was kind of where it all started.
And you became a board member at some point.
I did. They wanted a parent representative. So I've been on the board this is my 6th year, and I've been in the role of vice president and president the last 2 years. So I'm serving in the capacity of president this year.
It's quite a challenge, but also quite a testimony to your volunteerism. I think that's impressive.
Yeah, we've really tried to support the center even before board involvement, just because they do such great work for the community, all of northeastern Wisconsin.
Indeed. Now, the telethon itself has been going for some 55 years, as I understand it, and you're intimately involved with planning that and carrying it off, I assume.
Well, it's the longest local running telethon in the country, so that speaks, of its great reach and importance to the area. Most of the telethon work is really done by the executive director and the staff at the CP, and we as board members support the services, help with the fundraising, participate as VIPs. But it's a very, very cool initiative that takes place every year.
Yes, apparently it's been very successful. Why do you think it continues to be so successful? I mean, not all telethons have had that longevity nor continued success. I mean, is there something about this region that makes it so interesting and so successful?
I've been touched by the people of northeastern Wisconsin and their willingness to give. I think it's interesting. The telethon probably is attractive for a number of reasons. One, simply because it's a unique fundraising opportunity where people can participate right from home or come down and be a part of the telethon. It involves
so many people.
So many people, a great deal of volunteers and people that put it on that, it's just a connection of people, talking to each other. And then we've decided to go with the route of local talent.
It's up to you, Green Bay, Green Bay.
And we found that using the local talent and engaging them in our efforts has really been successful. So whether it's a school that comes over and their choir sings, or they participate on the phone panels, the VIP panels, or Let Me Be Frank's production, which is local, and the gal Jenny that sings. Those are all local talents, and people are really interested in knowing them and seeing how their careers are going or seeing how their kids are.
So it really becomes a kind of local variety show.
It is. It's really kind of a neat way. And the parents and families come and watch the kids perform in the auditorium during the telethon.
So do you think it's going to be on the air for the next 55 years as well?
Well, we are hopeful that we'll be able to continue it. It's been strong. WBAY has been a great supporter of it, and we appreciate their help in making it happen. And I think Dan Riley and David Searing have really, given their time to the telethon. And as long as we can continue to bring all those forces together, we want to continue to have the telethon because we think it's kind of a institution here in northeastern Wisconsin.
It truly is, ultimately. Now, these are difficult times for charitable organizations of all kinds, and I'm sure you're challenged as well with working with Cerebral Palsy Incorporated. How has your fundraising been going in general, separate from the telethon?
Yeah, well, it is challenging, and we're hearing it from everyone, not just our organization, but all nonprofits. And even though we had a great successful telethon, we still have some budget shortfalls that we need to address. So the fundraising mission continues. And as everybody tightens up their budgets, both personally and business-wise, that's a challenge. And so we have to make sure that we are reaching out and appealing to not only individuals but businesses and corporations. The other challenge for us is that reimbursements from counties and Medicare and Medicaid are holding steady, but our costs continue to go up and expenses continue to go up and services continue to go up. So that's a real tricky game to play right now because
I'm sure it is.
we need more local or private funding to make sure that we can hit our budgets. And I know all the agencies locally have really tightened up their strings in terms of expenses and, and some cutbacks. And I feel like at CP we've really trimmed down to the very basic level that we can to offer the services we need to.
As president of the board, do you have some dreams to expand the center or to offer additional services that aren't currently being offered?
There are some areas that we're looking at. There's obviously a senior population that could be served. But what we really want to be able to do is take care of the people that we're serving right now. There's still a great need in the area of assistive technology so that we can help people communicate in ways that they couldn't otherwise. And then just really activate the adult program so that those people are able to integrate where they can or feel a part of the community by the services we offer them during the day. Maybe we need to expand, our hours a little bit and those types of things. But we really want to focus more on the services right now as we kind of work through this economic challenge. And then as hopefully we all come out of it, we'll have an opportunity to look at those opportunities.
What other kinds of fundraising efforts are you thinking about in addition to the ones you already do and the telethon included? But are there others you haven't tapped that you'd like to try?
Well, there's that whole area of technology that exists out there, so whether we can fundraise through text messaging or the internet, excuse me, or areas like that. That's a piece that needs to be tapped, but you need some resources to do that. We're looking at expanding our events to bring in more and touch more people. But overall, I think what we need to do from the center's perspective is reach more people, reconnect to the community, and then really make sure people know what services we offer and that we provide services to a wide breadth of people so that they want to give. So our focus is more on reaching businesses and individuals in the community right now.
To let them know what actually is going on.
Right.
Well, let's talk for a minute about the center itself, what actually occurs at the center, the CP Center.
Okay, well, there's the Adult Services Program, and that serves people that have CP and other challenges physically that can't really get around. And we offer them a lot of physical therapy and opportunities to work like in a kitchen area or ride their special made bicycles around, those types of things. There's the integrated child care, which allows kids with special needs to be in a setting with kids that don't have needs, which is really, really a nice opportunity for both sides of the...
As you described with your own children
earlier.
Right.
And they learn a lot, and it gives them a real comfortable perspective so that as they grow up, they are out in the community and comfortable when they run across people in wheelchairs or have other issues. We have the warm water pools that both are at 92 degrees that allow us to have therapy services and classes for people that would otherwise be uncomfortable. So that's a really nice opportunity for folks as well.
Indeed.
And then we serve people that have been in accidents and have temporary disabilities, a lot of physical therapy, people with spina bifida. We have birth to 3 programs that are actually not done at the center, but our therapists go into the home and work with the families. So there's a number of things that we offer and do.
It's quite extensive.
It is.
It's quite extensive. I want to remind our viewers that you're watching Conversations from St. Norbert College, and our very special guest this evening is Kate Hogan, President of the Cerebral Palsy Board in Green Bay and also Director of Retail Operations for the Green Bay Packers. And our topic this evening is community service. I wanted Kate to turn the discussion a bit towards you yourself and how you got involved over the years in community service. I mean, you spent a lot of time certainly working with the CP board, but in addition to that, your resume suggests you've been involved in volunteer work for a long time.
Well, my work allows me to touch a lot of areas. So through work, we work with the Green Bay School District to work with their work experience program and provide kids an opportunity to be in a work-based situation which they wouldn't otherwise have. So that's a nice opportunity. And also just the resources at the Packers and the things that we have at retail to provide around the community. So that's a nice piece of it. I think service is important. I think that groundwork was laid by our parents when we were young. They did a lot of things for a lot of people and did it very quietly. In fact, I wasn't even aware of a lot of what my parents did until I was older, which is neat. I think they put some people through college and through high school in the community, and that was a nice opportunity. And they're both graduates of St. Norbert as well. Also involved a lot at the school and on the parent-teacher organization over the years. Our son Mitchell will be leaving Langlade Elementary School this year. He's a 5th grader, but we've spent a lot of time and effort working with the board over there. And then, personally, we like to support the homeless shelters and the food pantries and do that. But that's really, all just kind of quiet behind the scenes and do what we can.
That's good. That's good to hear. There was a woman in Northwest Ohio one time who got an award for community service, and I thought her response was remarkable. She was sort of surprised, and her comment was she felt that service was the rent you pay for the space you occupy. That's what we have to do, and so on. So, but you're talking about your commitment to it. But go back a little bit to in your St. Norbert College days. Was there something there that further, caused you to embrace this kind of volunteer world?
Well, I think the Norbertine spirit and the things that we learn here and experience here at the college, are really, really helpful. I was a little bit involved in intercollegiate athletics, so that took a lot of time, and then your studies. But I tried to reach out in little ways. So because I'm from the community, I had some attachments to things outside the college that we did, took care of and participated in the summer. And then tried to just be involved in some of the things that were going on here at campus. And it's a neat way to meet other students and kids and grow relationships. So you get a lot out. Not only are you helping people, but you're getting to know people and interact with them and just broaden your universe. And I think that's neat. And then I was able to do some coaching in West De Pere and in Green Bay, in my junior and senior year, and just kind of contribute to the schools that way and help the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. So I tried to do whatever I could during my free time.
How do you think we should motivate more people to become involved? I mean, there's so many needs in any community, and this is our community. And as you said, the Norbertine values are among the Norbertine values is the idea of you serve the locale where you live first.
Right.
That's where you owe your allegiance. But how do we get more people involved?
It's really interesting. As being part of the PTO at school, and then obviously the board of directors, that's a challenge that's out there. Why are people involved, and why aren't they, and how do you tap into them? And we've talked a lot about, and I believe this, that you just invite people along and you make the ask as well. So if you're going to an event, invite somebody that may not be familiar with the event to come along
to join you
and get them involved. Or over at school, it was really about, hey, we need some help with this. Could you help us out? But people have all kinds of time and talent and energies to give. And sometimes I've found that they just need to be asked or they need to be engaged.
I think that's true.
So whether somebody has time or dollars or talent, if we can tap into all those and encourage them to participate, they will, and they'll get something out of it. The other piece that has really helped me, as we belong to the college parish, is just the incredible dedication of the people that are within the parish and the generations of faith, religious, educational opportunity that we have there. And they are so engaged and they are so dedicated that you leave that setting and you feel like you need to take that out to other people. So that's something that I've tried to do as I go over, and trying to get people involved in CP or the homeless shelter. A couple of things that I've done, I get emails from the gal that runs the NEW community shelter. And they're often just asks for, these are the challenges we have right now, can you help? And I share those with the people that I know, so that it's just kind of sending out the network and connecting people, and maybe you'll interest somebody. They'll connect to something they see and provide back. So
I think you're right.
Networking.
I think networking, and if you ask people at the right time in their lives with the right question, with the right project,
Right.
they'll respond. And I think you're right. I think back to my own involvement when I was in northern Michigan in the Lake Superior Community Partnership, which was an economic development effort because they lost the Air Force Base.
That's
and that
right.
was just south of Marquette. And so my pastor asked me to become involved and ultimately became a member of the executive committee of that effort. And it really resulted in the generation of more jobs for the community than had ever been there when the base was fully operational. So it was a positive turnaround for the economy. And I think that we have to be asked, though. I mean, I never would have volunteered for that, but he asked me to join, and I think you're right. It's that personal connection that makes all the difference in the world.
I think you're right. There are some people that'll just jump in head first, but
Some.
if you can engage people and really make them feel that they have a reason to participate, they will. And it might not be the first thing you asked. It might need to be something that interests them. But this whole idea of just reaching out and touching a few people and bringing them along for the ride can be really helpful. I don't really think about it much, but now that when you get into these leadership roles, you really do have to think about how else can we do things. And it's just kind of something that's
You also
inside.
have to prepare for the next generation so that there'll be a succession of leaders coming along. And do you do something about that, trying to train future leaders? For example, on your board, are you looking for the next president on the board?
Well, we have a setup of second vice president, president. What I thought, excuse me, what was helpful for us this year was how do we engage the vice president and the second vice president so that as you change over your leadership, there's not so much ramping up time and learning time, that they are engaged and know what's going on. So we've tried to expand the executive committee involvement in what's happening over at the center. It was the same model that we used over at the school, and it was very helpful. And then really just trying to educate and make sure that the board knows what's going on and that they're engaged and up to speed with things so that they can feel more inclined to step into some of these leadership roles as well. So I really believe in sharing the information and making sure people are well versed with what's going on. And there's nothing really to hide. There's only things to share, and that engages people.
Nicely put. Are you working with your children to instill that sense of community service in them at a young age that you feel you actually received from your parents, even though you weren't aware of it?
Yeah, in a different way, because my parents operated in that really quiet setting,
way,
even though we knew it was happening. So we do. Money that they earn, some of it goes into a special envelope that will go towards charity, and then some of it goes towards, hopefully their education, and then some of it gets kept for them. And then we also gather things up and go shopping for, say, the Toys for Tots or school.
Or supplies for the shelters.
Yep, supplies for the shelters, school programs before the start of the school year. So we talk about that, and they have to use their own dollars, and they both made contributions to the telethon.
Very good.
So those types of things, and then we just talk about it. And then obviously they have an opportunity to participate in the Generations of Faith program here at the college as well.
That sounds marvelous. Now, I know that one of the other ways I think that area businesses and institutions can be helpful is if the institution itself encourages the kind of volunteer efforts that you're talking about. The Packers obviously do that, and I'm sure a lot of other companies do too. I suppose one of the ways in which we could increase this was to get even more organizations involved in sponsoring their employees, for these activities. I assume you're working on that too.
It is. It's a nice opportunity. The Packers have actually done a corporate a match for their employees and donations they make,
really?
which is great.
Okay, yeah.
And I know there's a number of other companies in the community that do that. I think all companies are engaged with charitable organizations, and so that's not missing. And they all choose where they want to go and what path.
Yeah.
But if there's a way to take our dollars and our time and our energy and double it by having a partnership with the company we work with, that could be huge for all charitable organizations.
And it sends a message to the employees, too, that
It
this
does.
is really important. And
It does.
This is part of your job in a way, and in a very positive sense. This is a bit of an unfair question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. What's next on your list?
Well, I'm done with the CP board presidency in October, and I probably will just take a year break, but I envision being involved with CP again in the future. And I have a passion for helping the homeless shelters a little bit. And then I need to pay attention, I think, to the middle school and the high school where the kids are going.
Where they're attending.
You know, there's some challenges there with the budget cuts coming.
Absolutely.
And, you know, what can we do as parents to help support the programs there and make sure that not only the sports programs are healthy, but the music programs and the art programs. Yes. You know, those are very,
the ones
very
that get
important.
cut first.
They are. Yeah, it feels that way at least.
Well, it often happens.
I think that there's some opportunity there. But you know what? I think it just kind of comes to you. And my husband and I support a number of things, and we'll just continue to do that.
From your vantage point, do you see a particular unmet need in the community right now that's just almost overwhelming? Or at least it needs attention but has not received it?
I think right now we're going to see a greater need to support families that have lost income. So I don't know that that certainly has existed before.
But not to this extent.
It seems like the numbers are skyrocketing, yes, and then kind of keeping a little bit of an eye on it. But I think we're all going to need to have to contribute and help those people as we work through this downturn in the economy until they can find jobs and get back on their feet. Yes. And that's a concern, I think, for any place in the country, but you don't want to see that happen in your community, and you want to support the people that are affected by it.
To give them a chance to get back on their feet. I just heard this morning that the state of Michigan is reaching a 12% unemployment rate. You know, and it's just, and of course, in the Detroit area, I'm sure it's the most intense. That's extremely disturbing for all the families that will be suffering through that process. Right. It's just terrible.
Well, every day, you know, several thousand jobs here, several thousand jobs there, and it all adds up. And you know that we're not creating that many thousands of jobs each day either. So, I mean, what is the long-term effect on everybody down the line because of that? I mean, certainly my industry, the things that we offer at the Packers, it's a very discretionary business in terms of, do you need your Packer shirt or not? You know, we certainly want people to support the team and buy those products, and all of those monies go back to supporting the organization. But it's a discretionary thing, and is it something that people really need, or do they need to pay their bills and go to the grocery store? So it's a little bit of a challenge.
Yes, I'm sure it is, and so on. And you're seeing it from both sides of the house. The very successful to the most needy. So it's really an interesting world that you live in, I'm sure.
Right. You know, one of the things I'm concerned about is, will people pull back on what they can provide to their family members that use like the services at the CP Center?
Yes.
You know, can those folks only come 3 days a week instead of 5 days a week now? You know, can they not afford a wheelchair that they need, and how do we help them, you know, afford that along the way? Can they get the tools that they need to be able to communicate? So, you know, so that's kind of down the line.
Yeah. Will the food pantries be able to keep up with the demand?
Right.
Which I'm sure is overwhelming, some of them,
right.
In terms of it. So you're right. And these are real challenges for us, and we certainly hope that people will reach out in every way they can. And you certainly have provided a wonderful model. So
I'm trying to do my little piece. I mean, I think there are people that do much more than I do, and if we all kind of do a little bit together, it adds up to a lot.
Indeed. Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to thank our special guest, Kate Hogan, for sharing her expertise with us this evening. Please join us for future programs as we continue our exploration of the world of ideas. Until then, I'm Michael Marsden for Conversations from St. Norbert College.